What we have here is a support that will go underneath the tie beams on both ends, where they tie into the beams that hold the rafters up. And we decided to make this look like a gun post or gunstock post. Actually, this wouldn't be a true gunstock post because these pieces are separate. They will kind of look like that. Where this 2x6 block is, it's just screwed onto the post and it's just holding the beam up. The beam actually has quite a few torque screws in it. But this piece right here will be what goes underneath that, and we've got bolts to actually bolt it to the post to give it support. Now these beams here really don't have any weight on them except for what they weigh. They're tying the back beams to the front beams. I have a 5x8 timber up here. It's been laying around a little while and it's kind of grayed on one side. So I took my little planer and I cleaned it up so that I could see my layout for the gunstock shape. I'll put it that way. And I'm cutting this out. I'm using the big 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 beam saw and a chainsaw. And I'll lay this out and show you how we're doing this. I scored this line right here with my knife because I'm going to be brushing this with a chainsaw and I don't want it to tear out the wood. You can see where that check was, that my chain caught that and jerked that right off. It'll be something that I may have to try to fix some way. But that's one of the reasons I'd like to score this. I would have had to score that really, really deep to have kept that from happening. I'd probably have to cut that score mark about 3/16 of an inch deep to keep that from taking place. I'm going to take a chisel. I'm just going to pare that down, that line. This is really a profile that we're looking for.
Paul, why are you putting the yellow chalk to that?
I'm doing the same thing that I would do when I would be cleaning up a notch on a log. After I get down to the line, I'll do that on both sides. I'll do it over here also. And when I'm brushing with the chainsaw to bring this all the way down to this line, I'll see this yellow on the other side. When I get to where I don't see much yellow, I know I'm really getting close to where I need to stop. And that's where I'll stop.
Paul, what kind of chainsaw are you using to brush that with?
I'm just using a little Stihl MS-192. It's an older saw. It's actually an arborist saw, but it's light and still has enough power to do what I need for it to do. It's made for tree climbing. You can see the little place there to put a lanyard on, but I'm not going to climb a tree with it. I'm going to take this grinder, which has a pretty aggressive disc on it. I think that's 36 grit. And I'm just going to clean all my chainsaw stuff up. I'm going to start down here on the end of it. Okay, so we have the profile all cut out. this is ready to put up. We're getting all of our braces ready that will go up on the posts and the beams. We're pre-drilling everything. You can see I'm drilling an 1.5-inch hole. I've got a pilot hole there where I can run a 1/2-inch bit through there, and I'll show you how we're doing this. It's a little bit of a trick. I cut all these angles with my big beam saw. Just made it so much quicker, so much faster. And I'm laying these out, the holes. I'm coming in 5.25 of an inch to where I'll actually drill. I've got 6-inch, 1/2-inch lag bolts that'll go, they'll be actually square off of this face here where they come in. And we're having to drill these holes here at an angle. And I'm using a washer on the bolt head, and I've got to be able to countersink that bolt so I can get the washer on there. I don't know that I mentioned it, but I did come back 5.25 as I said, and I came in 1.5 inches to where the center of the hole will be from the outside edges. Now Brother Wayne came up with this idea. This is just a cutoff of what would have been the waste to cut these 45-degree angles. And he holds this up here, and we have an 1.5-inch hole saw. Of course the bit sticks on out. And I'll take my awl and just start a little hole, kind of a guide hole. And he holds this flush on this side over here. And I can just take my drill and set it right there where I made the little mark with my awl, and just kind of start it just a little bit and lean it back. And I can let the back side of my drill just ride against this piece of wood here. And I'm stopping just as this part of the hole saw touches the wood. That's when I stop with it. We can go ahead and get the other one while we're here. I'm just taking a fairly sharp chisel, and I'm coming in here right at the bottom. Knocking out that waste. Just taking my chisel and kind of cleaning that up. Now I have a hole here that I can use as a pilot to drill my 1/2-inch hole all the way through, down through there. We're starting to put all of the knee braces up. These are a 6x6. They have 4 1/2-inch lag bolts, 2 into the beam and 2 into the post. And we've got all on the front side up, down through there. And when we get all of them up, all of the temporary 2x4 bracing can come down, and we can get them out of the way. We have 6 to put across the back, and those will all be on. You can see the gravel does not come to the top of the hole. This is something that my daddy taught me. It's better to leave them a little bit shallow as far as the gravel goes until everything is set, and then come back and finish filling the gravel and tamping it around the post. You might need just a little bit of wiggle room when you're working with a post or a timber in the ground. And since we'll have all of the bracing on, we'll be able to finish the gravel and take all of our 2x4 braces off. and put the rest of the gravel in, and then we can put the rafters up. I've got a mark here on these braces. They'll come down 36 and they'll come over underneath the beam 36. I'm just taking my framing square and sneaking up on it there, and I'll make a mark there at 36 inches, and I'll make another little bitty mark right there. Now I've got a 2x6 block that's cut on a 45. Now these braces will set in there at a 45-degree angle, and this gives me something here to put this point right here pretty close to that 36-inch mark, and I'm going to run some torque screws in there. And when I set this brace in there, that'll give something for this to rest on the bottom to hold it. Now I'll get up there on the bottom side of the beam and do the same thing, but I'll give myself a little bit more slack. I'll mark it at 36, but I'll actually set another block like this at 36.5 so that we can get the beam or the knee brace in there fairly easy. I'm on the back side. I've got a mark at 36 right here, and then one at 36.5, and I'm going to set this back part of the bevel on 36.5. Now, I may have to make a silky pass here. We'll just see. I can clamp this. I don't see what's happening over here, but on this side it looks pretty good. I'm flushing all of this on the outside. I've got a little bit of a gap here. So what I'm going to do is put this clamp over here, or actually a different clamp. Take this one off. I'm going to try to make a silky pass through there. I really need to make a pass on the inside here, down low.
I just want to point out, you can actually see the saw gap right here. All of this is flush. And so when it gets down to here, that will move in and it'll be flush all the way. That closed it up.
I've got a 3/8 bit. My holes are 1/2 inch, but I want to get a good bite on the threads of the lag bolt. And I've got just a piece of tape. It's kind of getting worn there, but I know how deep to drill up into the beam. I'm cheating just a little bit. I'm using an electric impact driver. Click, click. Now I can take this clamp off. And just repeat the process. Okay, we've got the knee brace in. It's got 4 1/2-inch lag bolts, 2 in the beam and 2 in the post. And I think that will hold. Well, it's been a long day, but we got accomplished what we wanted to. All of the knee braces are up, bolted in, and I was able to take down all the temporary bracing that we had on the post. Our next move will be to cut all the rafters, get them up, and get the lathing on and the metal. I finished filling the holes up around the post and tamped them in with a bar, so I don't have to worry about this thing going anywhere. I may have mentioned those are down on the ground 3 foot or better. I had mentioned these pieces and I called them a gun stock. They're actually screwed in at the top and they have lag bolts in the holes to hold them up. A true gun stock would be one piece of wood. It would be the post and the gun stock itself would all be in one piece. It would be hewed out of one timber. So they would actually have to start with a pretty good sized timber to actually be able to put that little detail in there. What that does, it gives it some extra support on the top, but lets you use a smaller size timber for a post. This is something that's not done too much anymore unless you're doing timber framing. So this is, we kind of laughed about it. We said that we were framing with timbers, but we weren't timber framing. If we were timber framing, all of these knee braces and the ends of everything would be mortised in and pegged and done like the traditional timber framing would be. We're using timbers, but we're not really doing true timber framing.